Hey friends, Indy with Cycling Kindness, and I wanted to give you a detailed look at the bicycle that I'm taking for my around the world trip. And I have it without the bags. I'm going to show you it with the bags here in just a second, but this way we can kind of get a closer look at some of the components and the racks before I put the bikes onto it. So hope you enjoy it. Hope this gives you some information, some insight on maybe if you're taking a bikepacking trip, what to bring, what to look out for, some components that I've tested that are really durable, and maybe some new components you haven't heard of, such as the Pinion drivetrain, which I really love. So let's jump into it and take a look. So this is a Solace Cycles frame. They are out of upstate New York. Jeff, one of the owners, is who I worked with to put this custom build together. And it's a little bit different than when I originally had it shipped out, but most of the components are the same, and I've just kind of dialed it in for this event that I'm doing versus some of the other events I've done in the past with it, such as the Arizona Trail Race, Slide It to the Sea Race, as well as the Colorado Trail. So this is a titanium frame. I think they're welded in Taiwan, but really nice clean welds. You'll see here it has the brake in the rear seat stay, and that is so it is compatible with a belt drive. And they have their proprietary dropouts. This allows you to slide and adjust for different cogs, and also to adjust your belt tension. It's really comfortable. It has a nice amount of flex to it, really good dampening properties. It was great as a hardtail for doing those mountain bike routes such as the Arizona Trail and the Colorado Trail. Up front for the fork, I have a Salsa Firestarter Carbon Boost fork. I picked this fork because I had a lot of history with it on my Salsa Fargo, and it was wonderful. And I love that it has the mounts, the bottle mounts on the front and the back. The reason I chose that is it allows me to get a water bottle up here, which we'll show later, as well as the front panniers, so giving me that extra water storage on the fork. For the handlebars, these are a nice touring bar. They're raised up a little bit. They have a little bit of a back sweep. These are the Velo Orange Sign handlebars. They're aluminum, pretty heavy duty. The bike has fallen over a couple times, and they're doing great so far. For the grips, we have the Ergon BioCork grips with the pinion adapter. So you'll notice this one is shorter to allow for that grip shift on the pinion versus this one, which has kind of the full size. So they've been really comfortable so far, and I'm very happy with those. For the stem, I have a 110 millimeter stem because the bars have such an aggressive back sweep. I needed it out a little bit further than a shorter stem, and this is just a Niner RDO aluminum stem. For the brakes, we have the 4-piston Shimano SLX. Those are hydraulic brakes. And I just checked the brake pads. They look really good after all the hills I've done, so that is good to see. I'm expecting around 3,000 miles per set of brake pads, and I use the Shimano XT brake pads. For brake rotors, we have 180 mil rotors, also Shimano. They're Ice Tech on the front and back. Those are the XT models. Several bottle cages on here. I'm using the wide foot aluminum bottle cage. It's very adaptable to all different size bottles. You'll see I have some 64-ounce bottles on here. This is a 22-ounce bottle, and I like that everything's secured with a volet strap. And I also enjoy that they have multiple mounting points, and that allows you to use the 3 holes, but you can see they have longer slots here, so that allows you to move them up and down and adjust them how you need. But they're very durable, they're very affordable. Very happy with those wide foot bottle cages. I have a Chris King headset. Those just happen to be one of my favorite headsets. I haven't had really any issues with them in the past. The wheels are DT Swiss EX 511, which are some pretty burly downhill wheels. These are 32 spoke, and linked on those we have the DT Swiss 350 hubs, front and back. I decided not to go with a dynamo generator hub. I just didn't want the drag, and I wanted something that was easily serviceable if I ever need to get the bearings replaced. Up here we have a handlebar mount. This is just something I got off Amazon. I've changed this since I originally started. I had another set up here so that I could have my tracker down here. Now the GoPro actually sits right here, and that's easy to take on and off, and I can flip it around if I'm videotaping myself while I'm out riding. The racks, front and rear, are the Old Man mountain racks, and I have the through axle kit on both of them. That makes me feel a lot more comfortable with the weight I'm carrying versus having them mounted here on these little points. I just feel like that gives me a higher load capacity and a little less stress of actually putting more stress on the frame and potentially causing a crack. For tires right now, we are running the Vittoria Mezcals, and these are 29 by 2.6 inch tires, so very wide. I like the stability of them. They're great. You can take them off-road. You can see the rear's getting a little bit worn, but these tires have about 1,800 miles on them, so I'm very happy with how they've performed. I'll show you the tires I'm going to be switching to here in a little bit. This is, I think, a Mud Hugger rear fender. I got this from Marone. He used it on the Highland Trail 550, didn't need it anymore, so I said, well, let's see if it fits in there. Don't know if I'll keep it, but we might as well try it for now. Up front we have the Revelate design egress pocket. This has been one that I've used on several different races in the past. I keep my rain clothes in here, and then there's always extra storage space to put some food items or my puffy jacket if that comes up. You'll see the Zoleo communicator device. I've been very happy with this. They've been a great company to work with. It allows me to send text messages via satellite through their app, and the app on the phone is incredible. You can change your tracking intervals as you're basically riding down the road, and you can go as little as 6 minutes, which will use more battery life, or you can go up to, I think, maybe a 6-hour interval. So it's pretty cool. That allows people to see where I'm at, and peace of mind for my loved ones. Up front we have, these are the Jpak rucksacks, and Joe at Jpaks was phenomenal to work with. Sent me home with some fabric so I could kind of figure out what designs I wanted. They have a drain hole in there, so if it rains, the water just comes out. I've never had packs that had this a little elastic thing on the side, and I've found those to be really useful, especially for putting garbage in there during the day. I have hand sanitizer, just small little items. We have our little bell up here, and for navigation I'm using my tried and true Garmin eTrex 30. That's actually linked up to my cache battery, which is in my top tube bag, so I'm not actually running that off AA's. I run it off of a cache battery. Same thing with the Synwave Cycles beacon. This is the version 2. I had their first version. Really the only difference is this runs better with a dynamo, which I don't have it on, and it also has a blinking mode. They did a custom color for me, and that is also run off of the cache battery, which I really love. There's not a lot of dynamo lights right now that I know of that can also run off a cache battery. Going around to the top tube bag, we have the Jpaks footlong EXT, and he put a couple dividers in there, which is really nice. So I carry my phone on this divider and the cache battery over here. And then you'll see on the bottom here, we have, this is where I put my little remote for the GoPro. And then there's still plenty of space if I need to put any smaller items in there. And it's pretty cool. They have another zipper so you can kind of access it both ways. Another thing that Joe put on there for me was these loops to work with the Rock Guy Space Link. Really enjoy the Space Link. It keeps everything nice and clean. They pivot with the handlebars. Keeps me from having to put straps up here. So everything is really nice and secure and functions really well. For seat posts, this is an older Linsky titanium seat post. I have a Thompson seat collar on here, which is aluminum. And then for the saddle, I have a Cro-Mag Trailmaster, and I really like the cushioning on that. I use that for most of my races. It just fits well with my body geometry. Going back to the racks real quick, I should mention that this is the US made Old Man Mountain rack, and it is a couple inches longer than the other one that's made outside of the country. And I didn't notice that when I bought the front one first. And I do like that because I have a bigger Pannier rack back here. And then you'll see I also have a duffel bag that sits on here. I have a cat eye light back here that runs off of two AAA batteries. And that will run for about 70 hours. So I don't mind grabbing batteries for that as I go along the route, because especially right now, I'm in Alaska and we have basically 20 hours a day. So haven't really had to use that much except for when I've been on the busy highways. The main frame bag here is made by Shakapacks out of Canada. And Julian was also great to work with. He got me this bag right after COVID, and he got it to me in time for the East Texas Showdown. So in here I just have a multi-tool. I keep my tent stakes up here, and he's got this really neat little pocket that I have extra spokes and nipples in. So I have a set of 5 of those just in case something breaks on the wheels. There's also the down pocket where I keep my pump and then my bike lock, and then I usually have my food for the day in there. Another thing I did on the wheels was that I drilled them out for Schrader valves. I just find you get better airflow with those. There's less clogging, and it's easier to go to a gas station and get all that set up if I ever have a flat or need to put a tube in there. The pedals are the composite 1-up pedals, and I chose these because they've got really good reviews. They're durable. They weigh just the same as the aluminum ones. No issues with them. And then to take them off, it's a 6mm hex versus an 8mm, so I didn't have to carry an extra tool just to get my pedals on and off. The drivetrain is a Pinion drivetrain. That's designed by 2 ex-Porsche transmission engineers, and all of my gears are in here. It's a 12-speed internal gear hub system, and then on the other side there's a couple bolts where you change the oil, and it's 60 milliliters of oil, so it's a little bottle. It's not a lot to carry, and every 6,000 miles you change the oil in that. On the front here I have the stainless steel size 32 front cog, and then I originally had a 32 rear cog, but I beefed that up to a 34 to give myself a little bit of extra climbing gear. I added these eye loop hooks, I guess you would call them, to the back of the Old Man Mountain rack for my Arkel panniers to hook into, which we'll show you here in just a bit. So that's the basic rundown and mechanics of the bike. And really the only issue I've had so far was the belt snapping at mile 2000, but I don't think that was a problem with the belt. I've had the belts last a lot longer. Typically you'll get about 15 to 20,000 miles out of them. And I had ridden that belt on the Arizona Trail. And anyone who's familiar with that knows that there's a lot of hike-a-bike on the Lemon Push. I definitely banged this on a couple rocks. So I probably damaged the top part of the belt at some point in time and compromised the integrity of it. All right, back at the visitor center because my belt snapped this morning. So we are gonna take everything off the bike, get the new one out, and we'll get it fixed. Just take a little bit. All right, let's take a look at the bags. The first bag is the one that I am carrying on my person, and this is the Evoc Stage Capture 16 liter. It has a space here for my camera and the lenses, and then up here in the top part I have the drone for the drone footage. I like having that on my back simply because it's easy to access. So a lot of times I'll be riding down the road, I'll see some wildlife or I'll see some scenery. I'm able to just simply pull over, slide the bag over to my right, and get out whatever I need to access. So that's been really great, and it also has a built-in rain fly cover. I've had to use that a couple times and it's worked really well to keep everything nice and dry. On the front we have the Ortliebs waterproof gravel panniers. Those are going to be 12.5 liters a piece, so 25 liters up front. Up here I just have my extra pair of shoes and some repair equipment and my microfiber towels and my towel for showering. And then on this side, same thing, the Ortliebs gravel pannier. And this one I have mostly just cooking items. And then up front, I just have these little cam buckles and straps to keep my sleeping pad attached. I mentioned the capacity on these wide foot cages. And as you can see here, these are actually 64 ounce clean canteen bottles. And they don't move around, they're nice and secure. And that gives me plenty of water storage because I can still hold 2 liter bottles, 2 1 liter bottles up here, clean canteens. On the back we have the Arkel panniers. I believe these are the Orca models, and they make them in different sizes. These are the ones that are 22.5 liters a piece. They are also fully waterproof. The fabric does feel more durable. If you get these in the size that those are in, they do weigh a little bit more, but if for some reason these start breaking down after a year or two, I will definitely switch over to the Arkel panniers. And I mentioned those hooks earlier on the bottom. Let's see if we can get a look at this. That's why I put the hooks down there. That keeps it from moving around too much. And then when I'm actually out riding, I will put a couple other bungee cords around them to secure both on the front and the back. And it's always nice to have a bungee cord with you in case a volet strap or something breaks or you need to attach something. Up top here we have a Gill 30 liter waterproof duffel bag, and I simply attach this with volet straps. There's 4 attachment points, and that keeps everything nice and secure. And that's about it for the rundown on the bicycle and the bags. The only other thing I wanted to show you real quick are the next tires that I'll be running. Are Specialized Purgatory Grid T7s, pretty aggressive mountain bike tires, but I got them on sale for 25 bucks a piece. So I bought 4 of them. My mom still has a couple sets, or 2 of them at her house, a set. So we'll get those mailed out maybe in Montana whenever I need the next set. A little more aggressive than what I need, and once those wear out, we'll see how they perform. Maybe I'll stick with Specialized, or maybe I'll go back to the Mezcals. But both of those are in 29 by 2.6 inch tire size, so it fits the bike really well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just let me know, and I'll be happy to get back to you and share what I've learned on the road so far.